When did you realize your parents were bad at parenting? I was 8 years old when my teacher sent me home with a note about bringing lunch to school. I hadn't had lunch for 3 days straight and she was concerned. I remember staring at that folded paper the entire bus ride home. My stomach twisting with more than just hunger. Mom and Dad were arguing when I got home as usual. Empty bottles littered the coffee table and the kitchen sink was piled with dishes from last week. The fridge had condiments and beer but not much else. I stood in the doorway for 15 minutes before either of them noticed me. When I finally handed Mom the note, she screamed at me for making her look bad. Dad told her to calm down, which only made her angrier. Neither of them actually addressed the lunch problem. That night I climbed onto the kitchen counter and searched through every cabinet. I found an old box of crackers and a jar of peanut butter that wasn't too far expired. I made my own lunch for the next day, carefully wrapping crackers in a paper towel since we didn't have sandwich bags. By 4th grade I was doing my own laundry, though I could barely reach the knobs on the washing machine. I learned which clothes could hide stains the best, which was important because we rarely had laundry detergent. I figured out that hand soap sometimes worked as a substitute. The worst part wasn't the neglect. It was watching my friends' parents. I'd go to birthday parties and sleepovers and notice entirely different worlds. Homes where parents asked about homework. Where fridges were full. Where children didn't have to parent themselves. At Bobby Miller's house, his mom made everyone breakfast in the morning after our sleepover. She cut oranges into smiling faces and asked if I wanted more bacon. I ate 3 helpings and nearly cried when she gently touched my hair and said I was such a good eater. By middle school I had a system. I got myself up, dressed, fed, into school. I forged signatures on permission slips and report cards. I learned to say my parents are just really busy when teachers asked questions. I became an expert at making excuses for why no one ever came to my performances or games. When I was 14, my English teacher assigned an essay about our greatest role models. Everyone wrote about their parents, famous athletes, or historical figures. I wrote about TV dad Danny Tanner from Full House and how I wished someone would tuck me in at night. Or teach me life lessons. My teacher kept me after class. Concern written all over her face. That was the first time a social worker visited our home. Of course my parents cleaned up their act just long enough for the visits. They were charming when they needed to be. The kitchen got cleaned, the fridge got filled, and they acted like the temporary changes had always been our normal. On my 16th birthday I waited all day for some acknowledgement. Around midnight I finally accepted that they had forgotten again. I baked myself a small cake from a box mix we had in the pantry, saying happy birthday in a whisper, and promised myself that someday I'd have a family who remembered important dates. I remember once overhearing my friend's mom on the phone explaining why she couldn't attend some event. I'm sorry, but it's my daughter's school play that evening. I can't miss it. She's playing a tree and she's so excited. Okay. Her daughter was playing a tree and this mom rearranged her entire schedule for it. In my senior year my guidance counselor asked why I hadn't applied to any colleges. She helped me apply for scholarships and financial aid, becoming the adult who changed my trajectory. I moved out the day after high school graduation. My parents barely noticed. Sometimes people ask if I'm sad about not having a relationship with them now. The truth is you can't miss what you never had. They say you don't truly understand your childhood until you're an adult looking back. But some of us knew exactly what was happening while we were living it. We were the children raising ourselves, becoming adults long before we should have had to.